So, that's it. Destiny 2 is officially over. Bungie is stopping development on Destiny 2, and the final content update is coming on June 9th, 2026. I've been playing since the very beginning, and although the game's always had its ups and downs over the years, Bungie always found a way to bounce back. Until now. As anyone who kept playing after Final Shape knows, this last year's been pretty rough. Many of us weren't super optimistic, but I still didn't think this would actually happen. I love this game, and the last few years I've also enjoyed making YouTube videos about it. Even though I only have a small channel and I don't upload very often, engaging with the game in a deeper way through my videos has made me appreciate the game and the wider community even more. I released a video last year just before the Ash and Iron update came out, recapping the many problems with Edge of Fate and explaining why it had pushed away so many of the players who'd remained after Final Shape. But a lot has happened since then, so I'm going to quickly recap those Edge of Fate issues, then go through what happened in Renegades, and also cover what we know so far about the final June update. Because many of the biggest problems with Edge of Fate have either already been fixed or are being addressed in the next update, which makes me wonder if those problems hadn't launched with Edge of Fate in the first place or had been addressed quicker, would we still be saying goodbye to Destiny 2 now? It's hard to tell for sure. It's no secret that decisions at the executive level over many years laid the groundwork for this announcement. Layoffs, moving resources away onto other projects, or just generally taking the player base for granted while giving us less and less each year. But in a November 13th, 2025 article on BungieNet, the dev team acknowledged that Edge of Fate took the game in the wrong direction and committed to improving it long term, even promising a full state of the game and multi-year roadmap in 2026. So the final decision to kill Destiny must have only happened in the last few months, and additional reporting since the announcement appears to verify that as well. So to quickly recap what went right and wrong with Edge of Fate, which launched on July 15th, 2025. The new tier system for weapons and armor was pretty good. Multiple perks and enhanced effects made it easier to acquire specific roles, and weapons were more powerful. Higher stat armor, set bonuses, and the 200 stat changes meant min-maxed builds were more effective for damage, healing, and ammo economy. But exotic armor was capped at tier 2 for some reason, which felt like a weird and unnecessary restriction. And almost everything else was unfortunately pretty bad. The Edge of Fate campaign was boring, and the world of Kepler was drab, uninspired, and empty. The new portal system refocused everyday gameplay into a tedious menu of old, repurposed content, with selectable modifiers making these activities feel less curated and more frustrating to play. It felt like the amount of genuinely new content we got with Edge of Fate was the least we've ever had from a major expansion. Power leveling was a brutal grind, gatekeeping access to the highest tiers of loot for hundreds of hours until we were finally allowed to start receiving it. This made our earliest interactions with the portal feel terrible and like a complete waste of time until we hit the higher thresholds. Build crafting was also heavily restricted, because if you wanted to try a new build during your portal farming, you had to spend a rare new currency to raise its level, or else receive worse rewards from the portal, so trying out new builds was heavily disincentivized. Plus, for some activities you had to equip new gear only, and most exotics were arbitrarily excluded from counting as new gear, so some entire builds were effectively locked out. And in addition to these things immediately feeling bad to engage with, the threat of seasonal resets also loomed, with power planned to reset in Renegades, meaning players would need to spend hundreds of hours power leveling in the portal all over again to be allowed to receive high-tier Renegades loot only a few months later. The new Desert Perpetual raid was okay. 4 bosses with complicated mechanics and deep health pools made for a fun and challenging experience. But it also introduced the feat system, with optional modifiers allowing you to make the experience even harder, but if you didn't stack those feats, your loot would be trash. Casual raiding disappeared because you now had to sweat to get any loot worth keeping. And on top of that, even some of the most dedicated raiders felt alienated by its contest mode at launch, which Bungie had massively overtuned, leading to the lowest number of contest clears we've seen in years. Finally, everything else in the game that wasn't in the portal, all the old raids, dungeons, strikes, lost sectors, missions, and destinations, were not upgraded to the new tiered loot system, so 90% of the game was effectively soft sunset and felt pointless interacting with. I know this wasn't their intention. But despite already losing a large number of their player base who naturally jumped off following the conclusion of the Final Shapes narrative arc, for the dedicated players who stuck around for Edge of Fate, Bungie managed to make the game feel really bad to engage with, practically overnight, from new players to casuals right through to hardcore raiders. But then the changes started coming in. After 2 months on September 9th, the Ash and Iron Major Update launched, but it also wasn't very well received. The Reclaim activity had us returning to D1's Plaguelands location, but without letting us explore it on patrol, it was just more of the same tedious portal. We got some average new loot and a forgettable exotic mission for the admittedly pretty good Wolfsbane sword, but that was about it. It wasn't a good sign that the best things in Ash and Iron were just patches to some of the systems that caused the most pain when Edge of Fate first launched. Power leveling was now faster and less miserable to climb, the unstable cores currency was removed, no longer penalising build crafting, and it was announced that the planned seasonal power reset in Renegades had been scrapped, meaning any power gains players made now wouldn't be wasted effort. Plus, the epic version of the Desert Perpetual raid launched, and it was pretty good, bringing more complicated mechanics, some of which lingered between encounters, so the raid varied depending on the order in which you did the first 3 bosses. The boss health tuning was made much more reasonable, and the final boss Koragos was completely changed to be a brand new encounter. There was some new loot included, and the feat system was made more forgiving so you didn't have to stack all of them to get any gear worth keeping. Overall, Ash and Iron wasn't enough to bring players back, especially as all the pre-Edge of Fate content was still soft sunset and effectively worthless. The real test was going to be the next main expansion, the Star Wars-themed Renegades. Renegades launched on December 2nd, and it was a strange one. Look, I like Star Wars as much as anyone, but I play Destiny for Destiny. Does Bungie not have faith in their own universe anymore that they have to do some Disney license cash grab tie-in? What is this, Fortnite? But I do have to admit they handled it very well. Although the vibes were very Star Warsy, it still felt like Destiny. We weren't wielding a lightsaber, but a Praxic blade. Mars was the stand-in for Tatooine, Venus for Dagobah, Europa for Hoth. The campaign was fun, the exotic mission for the Praxic blade was excellent, and although we didn't get new patrol zones, there was a lot of variety across the 6 different Lawless Frontier maps. Overall, the loot was great, and the expansion added a new weapon origin trait called Accelerated Assault, found on very rare shiny versions of the Lawless Frontier weapons and new portal drops, which increased damage and improved reloads. These drops were rare but well worth farming for, so it felt good to have something to chase for once the campaign was done. The portal was unfortunately still there, but we did get a new Arenas node for 6-person match-made activities and Grandmaster alerts. Finally, a replacement for Nightfalls, which had been removed in Edge of Fate. Power leveling could also be maxed out just from playing Renegades activities, so players didn't have to grind the portal if they didn't want to, and all exotics now counted as new gear, giving less restrictions on build crafting for certain activities. The new Equilibrium dungeon was good, and I think the final boss is one of the coolest they've ever made. It also came with feats though, and again you had to stack them to receive gear worth keeping, making farming more annoying, especially as dungeons are designed to be soloed, and the feats made solo farming much less chill than any previous dungeon. Overall, Renegades was a solid expansion, but it didn't bring players flooding back. Let's be real, the ones who left after Final Shape were probably never coming back anyway, and a lot of the players who Edge of Fate pushed away were understandably reticent. So if we just focus on the ones who were considering coming back, from the outside, Renegades looked like a tacky Star Wars tie-in. Can you blame them for skipping it too? Destiny players want good Destiny content. Edge of Fate brought bad Destiny content, and Renegades wasn't even Destiny. And let's not forget that Renegades also didn't make any updates to the pre-Edge of Fate content either, so once again, 90% of the game was still soft sunset. 3 months after Renegades launched, we were supposed to receive the Shadow and Order major update on March 3rd, but only 2 weeks before it launched, it was delayed by a further 3 months to June 9th. Since then, communications from Bungie became unusually thin on the ground, and then eventually on May 21st, we got the news everyone feared. Development on Destiny 2 was stopping, and the June 9th update, now renamed to Monument of Triumph, would be its final content update ever. And with that in mind, looking back at all the problems Edge of Fate launched with, and how so many of them have already been addressed by now, it's heartbreaking to read the huge list of updates and features coming in June, revealed in the very same article that announced the death of Destiny 2. Because if these had launched with Edge of Fate, or Ashen Iron, or Renegades, I think we'd still have a player base. I think there's a chance development might not have stopped. Since the initial cancellation announcement, we've got even more details about the June update. The Monument of Triumph will act similarly to past events, offering ornaments, weapons and accessories, but also contain story beats with key NPCs to send off the series. We'll be able to focus specific Eververse items for the first time, attunement for all activities which support it can be done from the inventory screen without needing to fly into each location, vault space is increasing by 300, and will now have 20 loadout slots instead of the previous 12. We'll now be able to upgrade the tier of a weapon, gaining enhanced perks, mod slot, and origin trait. Plus, all weapons will have an intrinsic anti-champion effect based on their frame, including exotics, as anti-champ mods have been removed from the artifacts. And yes, I said artifacts plural, as there will now be multiple artifacts to choose from across the game's history, and these will be saved to our loadout slots, leading to even more variety in our builds. We're getting new aspects, grenades, and a melee, as well as tweaks to existing abilities, and all exotic armor will now be tier 5 by default, including pieces we already own, so we don't need to refarm those. Plus, we're getting new exotic weapon catalysts and changes to existing ones. For example, Touch of Malice is trading out Rapid Hit for Precision Instrument, making it significantly stronger. And as it's the only catalyst that I never bothered to get at the time, I'm definitely going to be changing that in June. Sandbox balancing is receiving a major pass as well. Too much to list it all here, but a big one is legendary primaries now dealing 30% more damage against red bars and 15 to 20% against mages depending on archetype. Exotic primaries are having their red bar damage bonus increased to 40% as well. All destinations will now feature on the revamped director, with the portal tucked away at the bottom, making the solar system feel more cohesive again. And all destination loot is being updated to join the tier system, with set bonuses, updated perks, and a new hourly rotating distortion feature providing extra challenge, plus its own unique weapon set on top of the standard destinations. Loot will drop as tier 3s from public events, tier 4s if you make it heroic, so good luck with your blueberries on Taken Blights, and tier 5 if a distortion is active, with even lower tiers having a chance to drop as tier 5 instead. But it's not just destinations getting this treatment. All old raids and dungeons are finally having their loot upgraded as well, with crafted gear gaining tier benefits tied to weapon level, and level 30 bringing tier 5 enhancements. Tier 5s from legacy raids and dungeons will drop from master difficulty, challenges, or from normal difficulty if it's featured in the weekly rotation. The feat system for Desert Perpetual and Equilibrium is also getting tweaked to make it easier to get tier 5s with less feats active, and higher feat totals now increasing quantity of loot as well as tier. The portal is being simplified and many of its activities are being tuned to make them shorter, easier, and less off-putting. New and distinct weapons and armor are also being added to each separate portal node, some offering extra benefits. Arenas can drop holofoils, and Onslaught drops reprised Brave Arsenal weapons from Into the Light, in addition to Pinnacle Ops loot. There's even a new Gambit node, an activity which was abandoned several expansions ago long before Edge of Fate. There is no stone left unturned here. Pantheon 2.0 will be available immediately on June 9th, offering players a new challenging boss rush activity, just like we had before Final Shape launched. But this time it's a permanent addition, and it's also going to include bosses from raids that were vaulted in 2020. Pallas from Leviathan, Argos from Eater of Worlds, and my own personal favourite, Galran from Crown of Sorrow, will all feature. These should obviously never have been removed in the first place, but it's nice that we're getting them back just before the lights shut off. And last but not least, Sparrow Racing League will also return as a permanent addition for the first time since Destiny 1. Players have been asking for this for 9 years. It will also include unique weapons and armor to chase, as well as a new track set in the world of the Nine. Essentially, we're getting Rainbow Road, which is fantastic. Bungie also promises Easter eggs and surprises in store, so there'll be even more to discover. It goes without saying this is a huge update to the game, and one that was very necessary. It's just a little demoralizing that it didn't come much sooner. So is that it for Destiny forever? I'm choosing to hold on to a little bit of hope and say, I think we will see this world again. Not anytime soon, but I'll take some comfort in the possibility. Like walking around with a lottery ticket in your pocket you haven't checked yet. There's always a chance, right? Because I hate the thought that I'll never get to run a new campaign, raid, or dungeon again, try to solve a new hidden puzzle, or just explore a new planet and get immersed in it, absorbed in the new soundtrack. But beyond just those things, I hope we'll get to see a version of Destiny that's as good as it can be, that it always could have been, but to be completely honest, never was. Because as much as I loved Destiny, as I'm sure many of you can relate, I often hated it too. I hope one day I'll get to play a version of Destiny where the game functions at a basic technical level consistently, without teleporting enemies or perks and abilities failing to proc. To see a HUD where important buff timers aren't pushed off the screen by ones we simply don't need to see. Bungie claimed to have fixed that last one in previous updates at least twice, and it's still an issue. I hope I'll get to run another contest mode raid, but one that isn't rushed out into an untested sandbox full of bugs and exploits, where we have time to farm and get all the new tools in our toolbox ready to face the challenge, where half the fun new things don't immediately get disabled instead of fixed because the devs only gave themselves a few days between expansion and raid launch with no time to fix them. Most, if not all of these problems describe almost every raid launch the game ever had. I hope one day we'll get a version of Destiny with more than one new raid a year again, something that used to be normal but we haven't had in 7 years. I hope we'll have a damage meta where ability spam isn't the safest, easiest, and highest damage strategy available, while also using the least amount of resources, where every new solo flawless dungeon run you see on YouTube isn't just bonk hammer titan or grapple melee spam. Look, I don't blame people for running these builds, they're very powerful, I run them myself sometimes. But it's crazy that this level of cheese was this normalized for so long without significant balance passes, where the most optimal weapon damage rotations available, stacking buffs, debuffs, and expending all our ammo reserves, were just nothing in comparison. I'm going to cherish Destiny, but I'm also not going to pretend it was something it wasn't, because that's the only way I'm not going to feel too much sadness about it now ending. Maybe it did fall too far. Maybe in time, I'll see this as a weight off my shoulders. I know I've focused on the negatives a lot in this video, but I want to end on a more positive note. This is only a small channel, just under 3k subs. Almost no one watches my Twitch channel or even knows who I am in this community, but that's fine. I wasn't playing this game or uploading videos to try to get clout. I played because it resonated with me more than any game ever had. And I made videos when I felt like I had something worth sharing with the wider community. And I feel so lucky that some of my videos over the years were seen by lots of other players, and they liked them. Playing this game for the last 12 years and making videos for the last 5 has been really fulfilling. And this last week it's actually been really nice seeing so many others, some for the first time, sharing their thoughts and memories of Destiny. This game brought a lot of people together. I don't know if many people are going to see this video, or who they might be. But just on the off chance, if there's anyone watching this right now who worked on Destiny in any way, no matter how small, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything. Eyes up, Guardians.
I'm out of tractor. I'm out of tractor.
Keep it going.
Finish him. Finish.
Yes!
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 Yes! Yes! Yes! Panics, I hope you'll be showing your abomination tonight, baby.
Guys, 10 seconds. Oh, easy money, easy money, easy money, easy money. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Get it! Where's the boss? Oh. Me. Yes!
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Reloading.
Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's go.
Yes! Yes!
No, the tagline came up.
No, it's the tagline or it's called.
It don't matter.
Yeah, baby! Points!
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's the first solo raid thing I've ever done. Yes. Finally.
Going. Come on.
Yes!
Yes!
Yes! Go!
Yes!
Live.
We're good.
That was such a messy end. Yes!
We beat the raid.
Yes!
Hell yeah, GG's.
Let's go. Nice round.
Guys, guys.
Doctor's on. Kill him.
Yes, man. 4 seconds.
Super. Get him. Got it.
Yes!
Oh, piss.
Yes! Oh my god, even though I totally messed up. Yes! I did it.